With just over a month before Donald Trump takes office, some of his allies are beginning to worry the president-elect may actually water down one of his biggest campaign promises to carry out the largest mass deportation in U.S. history. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump's hardline immigration backers have noticed a retrenchment from the president and his incoming border czar, Tom Homan, quote, in the weeks since the election and even in some rally speeches toward the end of the campaign, Trump and his incoming advisors have alluded to a mass removal effort of immigrants with a criminal record, a far narrower set of people than the 15 to 20 million Trump pledged to deport earlier in the year. This isn't going to be neighborhood sweeps and military vehicles going through the city, Homan said in an interview following a meeting with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Homan continued, President Trump and myself have committed that this is going to be a targeted enforcement operation.
Okay, let's talk reality for a minute, Jonathan Lemire. And we discussed this yesterday on the phone after this came out, and Trump supporters like, oh my God, he's not going to deport 15 or 16. You can't. No. It's impossible. No, it is literally, there's that operation not feasible. It's not possible. And, you know, the fact is in the first term, with all that Donald Trump did, all the chaos we saw on television, he did not deport as many people as Barack Obama did when Barack Obama was president. The reason why? It's hard to deport people. It takes money. It takes judges. It takes logistical operations. Like, if they get the hardened criminals, if they get 1 million hardened criminals out, that's going to be like a full-time job. So the thought people say, oh, you need to get 15, 16. It's never going to happen, first of all. Secondly, you want to destroy a lot of American businesses. And I say this as a guy who has said for 30 years, I don't think the first thing you should do when you come to the United States of America is break the law by coming here illegally. So that's where I've come from for 30 years. And even I understand you're not going to deport this many people. And then on top of that, Donald Trump actually listens to the business community who's saying what separates us from countries in Europe that are dying and China that has a demographic bomb going off right now is we have immigrants that actually run our that help us run our small businesses, our factories, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, Ohio, Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, they depend on immigrants. So again, I do this like long wind up because there's what's said on the campaign trail and then there's what's possible. And the reason why Tom Homan is talking about we're going to get the hardened criminals is, first of all, it's politically, it's what Democrats will agree with also. Yep. But secondly, that's what's possible right now.
Right. And in terms of resources and finances and manpower, it would be extraordinarily difficult, impossible to do what Trump had promised on the campaign trail, particularly when you have some local and state municipalities, jurisdictions saying they won't cooperate. Also, the real risk of protest in the street were this to happen. There's a lot here, including the concerns from the business community. So on that, let's bring in Democratic Congressman Jim Costa of California. He is running to be the ranking member on the House Agriculture Committee. The election for that post will be held tomorrow. Congressman, good to see you this morning. So let's start right there. The impact of immigrants, of migrants here on the agriculture industry in the United States, because certainly Joe just ticked through a bunch of states that are impacted by this, perhaps none more so than California and its farms.
No, you're absolutely right, Jonathan. And Joe, I couldn't agree more. As a third-generation farmer, and my grandparents came to this country illiterate and non-English speaking as farm workers. They knew how to milk cows. And the fact of the matter, the 2 to 3 million undocumented people in California, we believe that over half of them are involved in agriculture. That workforce is absolutely essential. The bottom line is that farmers in California care about a reliable workforce, they care about fair trade, and they care about water. And with the possibility of a tariff war beginning with Mexico and Canada, give us a break. I mean, this is not going to help the farm economy.
Congressman, Congressman, I'm curious about what's going on with the CR this week and aid to farmers. Obviously, red America is rural America. Obviously, the farmers of America depend greatly on federal dollars. There is no bigger government handout in the world than the money that we provide farmers as their safety and security financially. Always that has been paired with food security measures for the disadvantaged in this country. And those two went together to try to get the political support for both. Are they going to try to put farm aid in the CR in order to bypass the ability to protect food security for the disadvantaged in America?
Well, I hope not. But, Senator, you're absolutely correct. The Farm Bill, as you know, is one of the more bipartisan pieces of legislation we've done historically. This is my fourth Farm Bill reauthorization. It's a safety net, not only for the 47 million Americans who are food insecure, but our children who benefit from the school lunch and breakfast program, women, infants, and children, and farmers, ranchers, dairymen, and women and farm workers who, frankly, are a part of that safety net that put food on America's dinner table every night. And it's overlooked. I sure hope that we will come together here in the next day or two, to the point of your question, to pass a CR, and that maintains a continued spending at the current levels on the farm programs that are essential, the 12 titles that you elicited. And then on top of that, we've got to try to make sure that the Inflation Reduction Act, which we've offered to the Republicans over the weekend, is built into the package. It's $14 billion, and farmers are using that money wisely.
Congressman, let's just go back to the intersection of the tariffs and then the labor supply. If Donald Trump, if he deported maybe 10% of California's labor with the farm workforce, what would be the practical impact in conjunction with tariffs, too?
Well, I can't give you precise numbers, but I think it will be devastating. The bottom line is that 44% of California's agriculture is exported, okay? So a tariff is a tax on American consumers, and it's a tax on American producers, farmers, and manufacturers. And so we're still having a lingering effect from the last time we were engaged in a tariff war with China. And the previous administration, the incoming administration, tried to cushion that for farmers by borrowing money from the Commodity Credit Conservation to minimize the impacts. But clearly, specialty crops don't benefit from that. And those markets are critical to American farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. And then you remove a vital supply of labor. Some of the hardest working people you've ever met in your life. I know I did that work from the time I was 10 into my early 20s. And we've got a real problem in ag country.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, there are things that are easy to say on a campaign trail. But you start digging into this and you realize you're going to be hurting family farmers. You're going to be hurting family businesses. You're going to be hurting family restaurants, small businesses, entrepreneurs. Those people that are running like small to mid-sized factories across the Midwest. It comes back to the
economy every time.
It does. All of this comes back to the economy. So again, when there are people that are angry because they're only talking about getting the hardened criminals out of the United States, you get much beyond that. You really start messing with family farmers, family businesses, people that run family restaurants. I mean, that hits Main Street USA.
Democratic Congressman Jim Costa of California running to be ranking member of the House Agriculture Committee. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Mika and Joe.
Thank you.
All right, take care.